My name is Chris Pappalardo. My passion is helping people build and protect wealth. And I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I was never taught the rules of money. I was never taught how money works. I didn't know. I thought it was a big secret for wealthy people. And I found out, no, we're allowed to know everything, and we can work with money and finances the way wealthy people do. We're allowed. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that we know and the basics of how money works so you can start getting your own plan. And my goal is to simplify this. So let me give you an example. I want to talk about myths around money. I want to talk about myths around wealth. Okay? Limiting beliefs around those things. And then at the end, I want to show you some challenges that people generally make, big mistakes that they make, common mistakes they make, they don't realize with how money works, so that you don't make those. But the most important thing is, none of this matters if you don't go do anything when you leave here. So I'm going to give you one or two ideas on something you can do. And congratulations, it's not going to be go figure out your budget. Because I know most of you in here, if you're like me and everybody, you run from the word budget. That's not fun and exciting. So my goal is at the end to give you one or two goals or tasks that don't involve you getting a Sharpie out and looking at your budget. Fair enough? Because I want to work my way backwards into that to where you want to do that. But if I give you some tangible ways to get excited about possibilities, that's how we actually make change, okay? Fair enough? All right. So I've been doing real estate for 14 years. Those who know me, I own 10 investment properties. I live on less than I make. That's one of my goals, my tenets. However, my goal is to eventually live on less than I'm passively bringing in. Okay, that's the goal. Okay, so when I'm talking about money and what it can do for me, my question is always going to be, what does money mean? All right. So wealthy people define money or wealth as the financial, material foundation necessary for you to achieve your personal mission in life. How many of you here are like, I can actually do that? I can actually have a mission in life? I gotta pay bills. I gotta make money. I can't do that. What if you could? What if you could? So a financial wealthy person is someone who's accumulated the wealth that delivers unearned income, passive income, necessary to become self-actualized and achieve their personal mission. Meaning, however much money you think you need to live on, what if you had that in the bank right now? What would you do? Who would you be? What would you get up and do every day? What's funny is most people say, I would do nothing. We'd all do nothing for a month or two and then be bored. We'd need something to do. But what if you didn't have to get up? Now, my short answer on this is, I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. That's my short answer to that. That's a wealthy person. So let's talk about the mindset around wealth first. And then I'm going to show you a really, really simple diagram, right? And Deborah's going to load the diagram into the chat so you guys have it as a PDF. But truth, the most common mistakes we make in life is looking outside ourselves for what we should find inside. Short answer, success is no exception. True happiness lies within each of us. Success is a result of very specific mental attitude. Would you believe there are multi-millionaires that are miserable? There are people with very, very little money and they're very, very happy. Money will not make anybody happy. It's going to accentuate who you are and what you believe to be true. Now, money is good for the good it can do. But the attitude around it is what matters more than the actual money. The truth about wealth is, the mentality of the rich, an attitude to success, or the prosperity conscious, financial wealth is the outward manifestation of inner focus. It is a result of steering thoughts towards a specific financial target. Henry Ford said it best when he said, if you think you can and you think you can't, you're right. So, one of my goals here is, what's your definition of wealth? It's not the same as mine. But your answer for you is your answer. Genuine wealth is above all a state of mind, a mental state that has taken physical form in the lives of the wealthy. You must begin by being rich and wealthy in your mind before you will actually have it in your hands. Take a moment and think about that. Is your glass half full or half empty in your life? Another way to say it is, what you focus on expands. Six truths about money. The key to happiness is not more money. Happiness is happiness. Money is money. Number two, whatever your life is about, more money will amplify it. Meaning, if all you need is more, when you get more, you will need more. And you will need more. And you'll be unfulfilled the more you need, because there is not enough if all you're after is money. Many, many years ago, there was a German gentleman. He was the third richest man in the world. And he committed suicide because in 1 year, he went from the third richest person in the world to the 13th. And he couldn't handle the horror and the shame of his company doing that bad, that poor. The guy had billions upon billions upon billions, and he threw himself off a train, in front of a train. See, there was no fulfillment there. It's going to amplify whatever your life is about, whatever your mission is. Money won't change you. It will expose you. People always have challenges when they either have too much or not enough. If it's too much, you can get in trouble. Not enough, you're worried about making enough to eat. In the middle, which is where most of us live, that's the danger zone. Because we don't let change happen. We don't ask for change to happen. Because we think, it'll be okay. Right? Not enough and too much, boy, things start to explode. Another truth, lifestyle is style over amount. A style is an art. Your personal art is living. You can't buy style with money. You can't buy good taste or good decision with money. You can only buy more with money. The life quest is to have the best life in the best time available to us. It's not the amount. It's the value. Money doesn't buy value as it pertains to the best life possible. Care about your family and friends. If you had a bucket of money by yourself, would you feel happy? Would you feel joy? Would you want to give it all away? What's going to bring you fulfillment? Money will come to you when you do the right things. Money has its own rules and disciplines. If you don't learn them, you're basically financially illiterate. I have been financially illiterate most of my life. Because I thought we're supposed to make money, pay taxes, and live on what was left. That's what I was taught. That's not the game that rich people play. That's not the game people play with money that really know how money works. I didn't know that. I was financially illiterate. And I've got the coolest document I'm going to share with you that's just going to walk you through the basic of how it works. And then you get to make decisions of what you want to do. That's it. Up to you. You don't do anything with it. You can do a lot with it. But I want you to know the rules. Because there are some really basic rules. And we overcomplicate it. Now let's deal with some myths and then we'll get right to it. Myth number one. I don't need to be an investor. My job will take care of my financial wealth. Truth. You do need to be an investor because your job is going to pay you enough to work at your job. Would you like proof? Want proof? How many of you have a 401k or money you're investing in, and they say, it'll be enough when you retire because you don't You need to live this life when you retire. You need less money when you retire. Has anybody heard that story? I don't know about you. I don't want to sit in a rocking chair and do nothing when I get older. I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to spend money. I want to do things. I've got a son. I can't imagine when I'm going to have grandkids. I'm going to be like, give them whatever they want. I want to go to Disney World, right? Like backstage, VIP. But that's not what they're selling. What they're selling is live on your Social Security. You don't need as much. You don't spend as much. You don't go anywhere. You don't do as much. People are living into their 90s. And we can live into those ages very healthy. That's old programming. If you look at what you're putting away, if you're even putting it away to your employer, it's not enough to live a big life. It's enough to maybe get by. You are in control of your wealth and your future. Myth number 2, you don't want or need to be financially wealthy. I'm happy with what I have. Open your eyes. You want me to be financially wealthy. Healthcare isn't getting cheap. Things aren't getting less expensive. They're not. How many of us have said it? Things shouldn't cost us much. They do. They do. And they're going to continue to cost more. It's called inflation. Because the opposite of that is deflation, which means the golden goose is dying. We don't want that. You don't want deflation. That means we're shrinking. That's not fun. Number 3, it doesn't matter if you want or need it. I just can't do it. You can't predict what you can or can't do until you try. I'm going to show you examples of this that should show you, no matter what, start. Number 4, investing is complicated. It's only as complicated as you make it. Could that be complicated? Number 5, the best investments require knowledge most people don't have. Not true. The best investments will always be in the areas that you already understand. When you see how money works and when I ask you certain questions, there is opportunity all around you in areas that you are passionate about, that you love, that you are interested in, and that you can get excited about. Okay? Because you know those areas. Whatever it is, whatever industry it is, niches pop up all the time. The markets change, things change, people change. Investing is risky. I'll lose money. Investing, by definition, is not risky. Warren Buffett, right? Everybody talks about Warren Buffett, one of the richest guys in the world. Do you think he's hit home runs every time with stocks? No, far from it. He's lost a lot. The difference is he has a ripcord at the bottom and he only will lose so much. It's not risky when he knows exactly how much he's willing to risk. And when he gets to that point, he puts his ego aside. He says no more. He sells. He moves on, and he grows. It's only risky if you put your head in the sand and don't pay attention to what's happening. It's a simple strategy we're going to show you. But investing by definition is not risky. Did you know you can get rewarded when stocks go down? Take a deduction. You can sell Coke at a discount, lose money, go buy Pepsi, get the gains, take the deduction off Coke, you get the rewards of Pepsi. Did you know you could do that? Of course you did. You can actually get rewarded if a stock goes down and you sell and lose money. Called a tax deduction. Turn around and buy a stock in the same quadrant. It goes up, get the gain, not pay taxes. That's a game you can play if you want. Number 4, successful investors are able to time the market. No. In successful investing, the timing always finds you. I bought all my investment properties in 21 and 22 when we were in a ultra high sellers market. Everybody was paying $40 to $50, $60, $70,000 above asking. I got 8 of my properties in that market. 3 of which I did a BRRRR on, which is called buy it, rent it out. Sorry, buy it, renovate it, rent it out, refinance it. I got all my money back. And that was in that market where everything was selling. Found them. Well, they found me. I'll say this one differently. Successful investing is like luck. The definition of luck means when opportunity meets preparedness, it's not luck. You just saw what people didn't see. We're going to show you some tools on how to find that. The timing is always right for investing, no matter what. All the good investments you take, every market has its share of good investments. Every market will always have its share of good investments. Okay, let's illustrate that. This is a very, very important point. What this shows is what interest rates do if you take $100 and invest it every month, and it assumes you're actually getting, the first category, 2% on your money every month, meaning I put $100 in, at the end of 1 month, I have $102. You guys got it? Like you get 2%, 4%, 6%, 8%, all the way to 20%. So what happens is, if I put my money, let's say a CD, I give the bank my money, and I put $100 in every single month at 2%, at 30 years, this compounding every month by adding $100 a month, boom. At the end, I have $49,000 after 30 years. Now, most of us have heard about the stock market. We get 7%, right? You put $100 in over 30 years. I'm going to go to 8. I'm going to make it nice. And if I just put in 8, right? I put in $100 a month. Of course, 30 years, at compounding 8%, I get $150,000. That's pretty decent, right? That's what we're sold on with right now with the stock market. On average, it gets somewhere between 6 and 8% return on investment, compounding yearly. So your money's doing that. Okay? Well, are these investments okay? What if I have investments that are at 20%, same money, same $100, but now it's $2.3 million for 30 years. So at 8%, it's $150,000. At 20%, it's $2.3 million. Any of you want this over this? What if you could set it and forget it over here and get this kind of return? That's 20%. There's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 200% returns on investments. But this is what we were sold on. Everything over here. So how does it change? You have a piece of paper in front of you. Open it up. Look at it. This is how money works. I'm going to walk you through this document slowly because it's simple. It's easy. We don't have to talk about earnings before tax and depreciation, all that stuff. Let's just talk about the path of money and what happens. Okay? So you have two kinds of capital. Look at the top. You have two kinds of capital. Human capital, aka what you work for. Right? You work, you make money. We're all familiar with that, right? We're all doing that every day, getting a paycheck. Okay? The second kind is called capital assets, where your money works for you. Now, we're going to come back to this one a little bit. Okay? We're going to come back to this one a little bit. Right now, we're just going to go with the human capital. You are working. You get money. That's called cash flow. It's called income. You have money in your hands. Now, there's some interesting things that happen between here and here, but we're not going to deal with that yet. We're just going to deal with the flow of how money works. So you worked, you took in some money. Now you have 4 choices you can do with that money. There's only 4. You can spend it, you can donate it, you can save it, or you can invest it. Let's have a little fun with these 4 real quick. Oh my God. This couch that I wanted was on sale. It was a great investment. I got it for 70% off. Right? Oh my God, I only spent $800 on this couch. I was going to spend $3,000, but I only spent $800. Now we lie to ourselves, we say that's an investment. But did you spend it? Let's define what an investment is. Put it on your sheet. An investment, by definition, is money that you expect to get a return on. When you take that couch and put it in your house and you sit on it, is it worth more or less than you paid for it? But it was 70% off. I mean, you paid $800 for a $3,000 couch. Come on. Isn't it worth more? How many people know things like, I don't know, Nike tennis shoes? Some collectibles, right? Are they worth more after you buy them? Maybe, maybe not. How many times do we find clothing, jewelry, things on sale, and we say, oh my God, this was a good investment? Everybody start looking at your shoes. Because Amazon Prime is kicking our butts for things that we want. And we think, oh, no, I would have bought it anyway, so this was less expensive. That's not how the rich play the game. See, when you spend money, it's done. Its life is over. Now, I think donating is great. I think everybody should tithe, give something to somebody, right? If you can't donate money, donate your time, donate your treasure, right? But eventually, you're going to take a look at these buckets and decide where you spend your money. But if you're like most people, right, there's a whole lot of month left at the end of the money. We're not able to do a lot of these things yet. Now, holding is a good idea. Holding money is a good idea. You need to have enough in savings, right, for reserves. But understand, when you're holding money, when you're holding cash or you're holding money in a bank account that's bringing no interest, you know what's happening to it? The buying power, nothing. It's actually going backwards. If I have money sitting at my house in a safe, right, or somewhere, I get cash, cash, right? What's inflation going up every year? 4, 5, 6%? Well, that means your buying power is going down by that amount every year. It's just sitting there doing nothing. It's not working. That makes sense? Now, I'm not saying not to have some money held in savings because you need some. But right now, whatever you hold in savings, at least have it in some account gaining some interest, because cash in itself, which is security to most people, is going backwards by definition if it's sitting somewhere doing nothing. Now, the biggest thing is investing it. Woohoo! This is where the game gets interesting. Because you really only have two choices when you invest. You can lend your money or you can own. You can buy things with your money or you can lend money. Everybody with me so far? Any questions about this? Because this is where the game gets fun. Now, when you lend money, right, or you own money, there's two different ways to do it. One is passive. Somebody else is going to manage that money for me. And the other way is active. If you are a passive investor and you lend your money, you have two ways to do it on the lending side. You can do money markets, CDs, bonds, T-bills, right? You give an institution your money and you say, okay, I'm lending you my money for a certain amount of time. Like a CD, they'll make you keep the bank for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? You're lending their money so that they can go and reinvest in other things. Now, this typically gets you 2 to 3% return if you're lucky. In a savings account, it's getting 1%, right? Bonds, super, super low, conservative returns. Then you can also own things like stocks, right? Mutual funds. So you're actually buying parts of companies. That's owning, but it's also owning passively. You have no control over what they do in those companies, how they operate, whatever. Everybody with me? It's easy though. Boom. Go buy index funds. They're cheap. They're going to go up with the S&P 500. You don't have to think about it. You can buy it. Now, what do you think owning stocks in companies? Oh, there's REITs, there's there's real estate investment trusts. You can go buy multifamily properties called a REIT. You can go buy into them. You can be part owner. Both a bunch of multifamily. Now, you don't decide what they buy. You don't know what the return is. You have no say-so of what they do with that money, but you can do it. You buy mutual funds. All those things are available to you. By the way, you can go buy index funds without any advisor at all. Just go buy an S&P 500 index fund. I got not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do with your money, right? Please consult an accountant and your attorney. But just know you're going to get 7 to 8% return on this. So these get roughly 1, 2, 3% return. These get 6, 7, 8% returns on their money. Now we're all familiar with these, right? Right? So I can lend my money to an institution, let them lend it out, or I can buy companies or mutual funds, and then that money can go up. So this is safe. This is passive. It doesn't get as much returns. Now here's where it gets interesting. When you actively lend, you can own or finance. You can owner finance, you can be a bank. You could loan somebody money and get a return. You could loan them money on a car, you could loan them money on a house, you could loan them money on whatever you want. You can be the bank. You get to charge above asking interest rates. It's your money. You can actually hold the product in your hand and say, you can't have this until it's paid off. And be collecting money on that every month if you wanted to. Right? You can do that, called layaway. You can also do private lending. There's micro lending institutions out there where you can call shadow loans, where you can loan out $50, $100 at a time, $200 at a time to people in other countries because they make worlds happen with that money. You can charge 10, 15, 20%, whatever you want. Now, imagine not spending that $800 on that couch, waiting 6 months, taking that $800 and being a private lender with that $800. Think about it. Possible. They're called shadow loans. It's also things called prosper loans. There's lots more details. Right now, I just want you to think. Because you thinking probably, I can't be the bank. I don't have enough money. Really? You don't have $50, $100, $500? See, it compounds. But you get to finance the terms of this. And if you end up selling your home or selling a home and you own or finance it, if they default on the loan, you keep all that money. And then what else do you get back? The house. And you get to do it all over again. Who's in control of that? You are. And you pay no capital gains, you pay no tax. Seriously. Now, you can also own businesses. Hey, buddy. Think about some businesses that you can invest in, that you can own. Now, one for us, a big one's real estate. Real estate's an easy one, right? For those of us who sell real estate, we know do some real estate deals. But you as an investor, this is one of the easiest ones. Because you can buy a property, and you have 4 ways to make money with real estate. Number one, does real estate in our market go up in value every year? All right, let's say 2008 goes backwards a little bit, but on average, we go up every year, so you get appreciation. Now, if you put a tenant in it, who's paying down the mortgage? The tenant. The tenant is paying down the mortgage. So the house is going up in value, debt's going down. Now, the interest that's being accrued from that loan, who gets to write that off their taxes? You do. You get a tax write-off. Now, let's just say, hypothetically, there's actually money left over. When the tenant pays you rent, you pay the mortgage, the tax, the insurance, and the management company fee, and you have holdbacks, because I'm not dealing with any of that stuff. I'm not getting calls at 2 a.m. about plumbing issues. And there's still money left over at the end of the month. Who keeps that? You do! So between appreciation, debt pay down, tax write-offs, and possible cash flow, do you think we're seeing returns in this range? And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. That make sense? So look about this as businesses. Do you guys know people who own businesses that you can invest in? Is there a business that you want to do that you could invest in? Is there a new widget, a new design? Are people working in an environment that you could have a small business? I'm not saying to do it or not do it, but when you actively own a business, or when you actively invest in real estate, or when you loan money and you're the bank, all of a sudden the return, you get financial returns that you're in control of. And then when you do that, that goes back up here to capital assets that you get to reinvest. Now think about banks for a second. Do they take your money here that you put in their savings account, you put it in as a savings account. What do they do with it next? What?
They lend it.
They lend it. They say, thank you, I'll give you 2%. I'm gonna go over here and be the lender. Now I'm gonna loan it out at 7, 8, 9, whatever they want. So I'll give you 2. I'm taking your money and I'm making 5, 6, 7, 8%. You can do that. Did you know that you can do that? I got a HELOC on mine. 7%, loaned out money at 12. I can do that all day long. I will absolutely do that all day long. I will take money and loan it to somebody else at a higher interest rate that I'm borrowing against, because that's what banks do. And if it doesn't work, I get the asset back. This is the game. Now the question becomes, what bucket, how much do you have left, and can you invest? So I'm going to give you two formulas, okay? One is called the rule of 72. And if you flip that piece of paper over to the spot, you want to write this down. Somebody grab their phone, grab their calculator. Open up your calculator, all right? Do some math for them. Really, really smart, non-risky investors, when they give you money, they want to know, when do I get my money back? When do I get it back, right? So number one, rule 72 says, take 72 and divide it by an interest rate or a return on investment, and you'll know how quickly you get it back. So somebody takes 72, divide it by 3, meaning I'm going to divide it by 3%. What do you get? 72 divided by 3. What do you get? What? 24 years to get my money back. Is that a good return on investment? Do you want your money back in 24 years? Double your money in 24 years? Is that good? No? Is that not good? You sure? Because that's what the bank's offering. All right. Somebody do 72 and divide it by 12, a 12% return. How long does that take? 6 years. So if I put out $1,000, in 6 years, I get all my money back. All right, somebody do 72 divided by 20. What?
3.6.
3.6 years. So if I put money into an investment property and I tell you that I'm going to get a 20% ROI, return on investment, that means in 3.6 years, I've got all my money out of that property that I put in it. All of it back. And now what's happening for the next 27 years in that mortgage? Pure profit. That's an infinite return, isn't it? All right, second formula. Nobody looking on your piece of paper. Just for fun, write down how much you think you want to live on per year if you had enough passive income coming in. Like, how much would you live on? 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, 300 grand a year? Like if I could stop working and just do what I want to do, how much money would that take per year to bring in? Just write down that number. Oh, great question. We're going to go with gross, just what you need to bring in, passive, just what you need to bring in. So we'll say before tax, just gross. Just, I need this. Because by the way, when I'm making all these capital returns, I've already washed all the taxes out. But right now, we'll just say passive, what's coming in. How much would you like to have every year coming in passive to live the life you want to live? I'm not going to ask you a number right now. Nobody has to share. All right, now, second formula. In your calculator on your phone, take that number, whatever that number is, and multiply it by 25. And write down whatever that number is. What that number represents is Finances 101. If I want to make $100,000 a year from my investments, I have to have $2.5 million sitting in an investment account making 4% interest, which means I can pull out $100,000 a year. If I have $2.5 million saved sitting there, I can pull out $100,000 a year, 4% of that, and that money will last me at least 50 years without really touching the principal or allowing for inflation. So if you need to live on or want to live on $200,000 a year, that means you need $5 million in the bank at 4%, getting return on the investment. Because see, the stock market goes up on average 7 to 8 to 9%, but does it have bad years? Does it have bad months? And what do you got to do? You got to take some of that money out during that time. That money's not working for you. Does that make sense? So I've given you two formulas. Number one, what kind of return do you want on your money? Now, I had a real estate coach. He said, Chris, I do not want you to buy an investment property unless you can get at least a minimum of a 20% ROI. And I told him he was crazy. I couldn't find in my market, all those things. All of a sudden, 9 months later, I found 30, 35, 50. And then when I bird properties, I had an infinite return. Because when I make money on a property and I got all my money out, it still brings in money, that's an infinite return. Because all my money is now working again like a bank. So, reminder, 2 things. What kind of return do you want on your money? I hope it's more than 3%. And then how much money do you have to have saved to live the way you want to live? That's a lot, right? So there's better ways. So you have to find investments like most people do. Because see, if you could loan out that $2.5 million or even $500,000 at 10, 12, 14% interest, look at that. Your money's working for you. We have to start slow. All right. Any questions before I move on? Any questions about that? Any ahas?
Chris, you said something about capital assets. You said to watch. And so we talk about taxes.
Well, I'm going to come back to capital assets because he asked pre or post-tax. So when you do all this, you're going to be working with somebody. When you get your assets working for you, you're going to get so many write-offs on taxes that it's going to be passive income that's going to be net after taxes. Yep. Because guess what? The government gives you write-offs for housing, energy, technology, all these things that we invest in. There's a book called Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. There is 2 pages on how to pay taxes in this country, and there's tax code this tall on how not to pay taxes. Straight up. The government wants us to invest our money back in this country and grow our country, and they will reward you in tax savings if you do it. That's why I said, oh no, I write off all my real estate legally, ethically, because I reinvest in this country and housing because we need it in this country. And I get rewarded for that in tax write-offs. And you do too. Yep. So, does this make sense? You got 2 choices. You can lend your money, right? Or you can own businesses or own stuff. You can own businesses. You can do active lending of businesses, or you can do passive lending or passive owning of businesses. You get to choose. You get to choose. Any questions? What do we got?
So you never talked about risk factor.
Say it again.
Higher risk also have a risk factor.
Risk factor.
So how much risk factor you can take?
So how much risk factor can you take? Is there any risk if I lend money on a property and I can get the property back?
Well, it depends on the person. If he does not pay,
You have to pay,
then it's a problem.
but then do I get the property back?
It depends on the situation.
You know the situation? No, I get the property back. If they default, like a bank, I get to foreclose and get the property back. I do. I get the asset back. Right? Yeah, I'm the owner. So I get the property back. I loan the property and loan money on the property that I own, and they default, I get the property back. I don't want to be risky at all. I control that. I control the asset. I control the business. I'm not suggesting at all, lending money on something that you can't touch, hold, it's not going up in value. Right? I want to be able to get the asset and have it. Yeah, that's not risky.
And how would the private lending?
Private lending? So depending on who you're investing in, who you're lending with, there's a lot of different options there. We've got a bunch of different insurance options as far as if you do the $50, $100 with those people, right? There's lots of different ways. Again, you have to look at that. It's called shadow investing or prosper investing. And we have companies that will insure your money so that if it disappears, you get it back. I'm not risking my money at all. I want my money doing what I want to do when I want to do it. Okay? Anybody here ever bought a used car? You could resell it, finance it, There's just lots of options there. Right now, what I care about most is which bucket is all your money going to? And are you saving a little bit? And do you even know what to do with it? If you have it. Now, let me go over real quickly ways people keep from being millionaires. Number one, they want to visit their capital. They hold on to it. They don't trust their asset as wealth. So they hold on to it so it can't grow. They'll sell, they'll buy, they'll constantly move, they won't leave it alone and let it work. Holding assets and letting them maintain value or grow when things go bad is one of the ways that you actually grow your wealth. When the stock market tanks, the only people that lose money are people who sell right away. You let it alone, it's going to go back up over time. Another problem is they don't trust paper wealth. They don't look at net worth wealth and assets on paper as actual value. So they'll sell when they think the timing is right. Oh my God, I made a lot of money on it, I'm going to sell it. Market might go down, market go up. Time on task, things compound. If you don't know that, go look at the parable of the penny. Penny pounding over 30 days every time. A proper lack of balance between paper wealth and cash flow. A lot of people will go out and buy properties or buy investments, then they need cash because they're living beyond their means and they have to sell assets to keep their lifestyle up. Or they'll go get a home equity line and use it to go on vacation. Or buy a depreciating asset like a car. No, if you use money, you have to use money to create more money. Then they'll think cash is real and everything else isn't real, and they'll always want to convert things to cash. Cash is going backwards the minute you take it out of the bank. It's not getting any interest. Improper use of debt. They want to pay things off without sufficient cash flow, and then when things crash, they have to sell it. Also, we have people who want to live out in the home. Things are going well. Look at my investments. They're doing great. They're doing fantastic. And then they have to liquidate things because they've been living so high. This is my favorite one. The lack of seeing people as a real investment. They don't see people as an opportunity to invest in. They only understand that the greatest return on investment is usually when money and time are invested in people. You own a business, you invest in helping people in your business grow. With real estate, we do that with our real estate agents and the people on our team. We help them grow, spend a lot of money, or I'd like to say, they cost us tens of thousands of dollars in the mistakes they make. But that's okay, because we believe in investing in people. People are the greatest asset, who they become. But please also understand, by definition for us, a little soapbox is, wealth is not defined by money. Wealth is defined by creating abundance. Abundance of whatever it is we care about. It's more than you need. That's abundance. Whether it's health, spirituality, relationships, money, time. When you have an abundance of something, that is where wealth can occur. Also, they don't have a written down wealth plan. They don't have a plan for how they want to be wealthy. They actually don't know how to duplicate what it costs them to be successful. They get lucky. They don't know how to redo it. You have to make a plan. Number 9, they'll spend more than they make, or they'll spend all that they make, and not leave any room for investing, growth, opportunity. How many of you here, if you got a raise at work, would ignore that raise and just put that money back so you can start investing? You didn't have it before, right? We all slide into, well, I'll eat out a little more, right? I'll spend a little more on Amazon, right? It won't hurt. They also don't study the money and the rules of investing. Money has its own rules. So I promise you guys 2 easy ways to feel good when you walk out of here. It's not complicated. So here's my 2 easy ideas for you. Number 1, whether it's $1 or $500, put some money away at the end of this month. Start the month and write a check to yourself for something you want to put in the savings. I don't care if it's $5. I don't care if it's $10. Start. Have an account that you don't have an ATM card to, that you don't have a checking account to, that you have to physically walk into the flipping bank and demand to get your money out to get it out. Make it hard. And if it's $1 or $5 or $50, just start. Anybody here can find $1. Pull up your couch cushions. You can find $1. But the easiest way to start is just to start. And then add to it. And it becomes addictive. Now, the second way is to track your net worth. And if you know how to do that, we'll share with you how. You take all your assets. Yes, your cars, your houses, your furniture. You can look at all your assets. If, by the way, if you are in a real estate business, if you're in real estate, your business has value. It's called your database. What's it worth? You track all your net worth. You take all the money, all the assets, and you subtract all the liabilities, all the loans you owe money on, credit cards, cars, houses, and you see what's left. Now, if you're like me, when I started out, mine was a negative $500,000. $520,000 to be exact. I actually remember walking by a homeless person thinking, he's got like $6. He's got a higher net worth than I do. I was borderline homeless, seriously. Like I had that much, I was like, man, really? Didn't feel good. But if you will track your net worth every month, you will see when you go and buy that couch or you go buy that thing, you'll see your net worth went down. And you'll see when you put that money in savings, your net worth starts going up. Part of the reason we ask people to buy real estate is because the average person that owns a home versus renting has 35 times more net worth than a renter. The average renter has less than $7,000 of net worth, and the average homeowner has over $250,000 of net worth because it's a forced savings account in your own personal home. It's just a forced savings account. It goes up. You're paying down the debt. The challenge is we look at that and we think that's great, but we always need to live somewhere. So all that money is hard to use on other things. It's a start. So 2 things. Start saving something. Whether it's $1, put it in a piggy bank. Just start saving something every month. And then simply write down all your liabilities, all your assets, and see if you have a net worth. Add your bank accounts, all the money you have sitting there, subtract out. It shouldn't take you long. And then every month for 30 minutes, do the same thing and track your net worth. And you will see how your money habits are affecting whether your world is getting bigger or getting smaller each month. And when you get sick and tired of getting sick and tired of it going down, come back to this document and go, where can I have it work for me? What can it do? What am I passionate about? Who do I want to help? Do I want to actively own the business? Do I want to actively own real estate? Do I want to actively lend money, or do I want to passively do it at a high level? I don't care. It's your money. I don't care how, just you tell me how long you got to work with. It's yours. But wealthy people invest their money first. They live on less than they make. They invest it. When they start getting capital returns, that's when they either start reinvesting half of it and having fun with half while they're still making their day job money. And that's how they get ahead. If anybody in this room bought a personal residential property, lived in it for 2 years, made it a rental, went and lived in another one for 2 years. Now, it's not a nicer home. It's not a move-up home. It's just the same type of home. You don't increase your quality of life yet. For two, you move from 1 to 2, get a primary mortgage. Tina will help you. She's gonna let you go and buy that one. Once you make that a rental, and the tenant's paying that mortgage, you save enough to buy the second one, now you got 2. Now, Tina, as a lender, if I've got somebody renting out this property for more than my mortgage, does that stay a liability on my debt sheet, or does it become an asset? And it becomes an asset. It becomes an income-producing property. I now made income. Now, 2 years later, I move out of this one, and I move into the next one. It's the same thing. Now I got 2 income-producing properties. I have more buying power. They've gone up in value. I paid down the debt. I have 2 people that have done this in 6 years. 2 people that have done in 6 years. They've already bought 4 houses. They've moved into them. They've went a little bit quicker. They saved their money. All of a sudden, they're sitting on 4 rentals and living in their 5th one. They have created wealth and income. And they're not touching that money. It's just getting reinvested. It's getting reinvested. If you do that, and you buy 5 homes in 10 years, on average in this area, and this is a $200,000 home, you will have a net worth of over $4 million. Do 4% of $4 million. You can live on that. And the tenant's paying down the debt. But you got to think differently. You got to live differently. And I didn't say move up to a nicer home. I said just move into the same type home, right? 10 years of that little non-upgrading your lifestyle gives you financial freedom. By the way, 15 years, your kid wants to go to college. Can you sell one of those houses? Pay for college? Absolutely. That's hard to do. Money sitting in a CD in the bank or sitting in, some mutual funds. It's hard to do in 10 or 15 years. Am I getting you to think differently? Because that's the job. Wealthy people invest in businesses or actively lend their money to other people and other investments to get the biggest returns. And they go slow. Learn what you like. Now, we got a couple options for you. Number 1, we're recording this, and we have how to analyze investment properties, short-term and long-term, on our CPT Wealth Facebook group. All the documents on how to do it are there. The videos on how to fill them out to analyze properties are there. It's free. No solicitation. If you join that group, 0 solicitation. No business is allowed to advertise there. That is a safe place for you to ask questions, for us to help you. And we keep all these videos that we do every other month on there for you to have. We've also got a YouTube channel. If you want to go watch them on YouTube, you can do that as well. If you're shy and you want help with either how to track your net worth, or you're a real estate agent and you want to learn how can I be a better investor with real estate, or just help be a better business owner in real estate, I'll schedule a call with you, 15 minutes. I'm not a mind reader here. I can only help you if you ask for help, but we'll help. So if you want to know how to track your net worth, you know how to do it, or you didn't even know what to invest in, or you just have more questions, fill out this form in the middle, and we'll reach out to schedule time, and we'll help you. We'll leave you better than we found you, because that's the goal. Because everybody, being here, being in this environment, in this world, we have the ability to create financial freedom. We won't do it for you, but we'll certainly help you get on the right path and on the right steps, if that's what you desire, because that's what we want. And then I want you to go teach this to everybody else you know. Make sure they know how to do it. Because it starts with $1. It starts with $1 to get it done. All right? Any questions? Everybody's in turn right now. You're all like, woo!
So in your network,
Pardon me?
you talk about network, right?
About what?
Network.
Network?
Yeah, network.
Net worth, yes.
So does it include the retirement savings?
Yeah, of course it does. And network requires, yeah, that's yours. Absolutely counts that. That's an asset. All your retirement savings is an asset, right? That's yours, absolutely counts that.
Right, but it cannot be drawn right now.
Doesn't matter, you still have it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's your money, absolutely. Oh, no, Andy, because that's still growing, right? That's gonna be growing every month.
See, another one that you mentioned, you live in a house for 2 years, buy another.
Mhm.
So the first thing that comes to my mind that, okay, I have say $2,000 mortgage.
Uh-huh.
I have to get another $2,000 mortgage.
Uh-huh.
That means I'm going to get $4,000 mortgage with no income coming.
Ah,
Now, if the bank is willing to lend that money.
So-
So, okay, my income is not good enough for 4,000.
So, it isn't, but I would also rent that house out for 2,000.
Yeah, but it's not, bank is not seeing that way.
So if I would rent this out, I don't divide it into this year for 2,600. So now I've got covered the mortgage, I'm covering, vacancy rate, I'm covering the management company managing it, and I'm putting capital expenditures away, so that if the tenant moves out, I'm using their money to do all those things.
Understood. But the question is, when I go and ask for the bank for the second loan,
Right?
I see I have already have.
Oh, you can do that, but if you have a lease on this place, yeah, might be. Yeah, I'm more than happy to help with that. I love it, that's the goal, is if I go get this lease, right?
Right,
before I
but still
purchase-
I not bought the other loan. Like, when I go to the bank and ask for a loan, they look at all my liabilities, right?
Mhm.
And they say, okay, your liability is.
Oh, so you can't do that right now, but you can plan on what we can pay off, or whatever, so we can get started. To do that.
Okay, but the bank is looking at it, as, okay, you have so much of this. I mean, you have so much, say for example, I have mortgage one, I'm trying to get mortgage. They look at mortgage one as a liability, and mortgage two as a second liability. And they find that, okay, that two mortgages added together is more than 30 years, whatever the management.
Right.
Higher than your gross.
28%.
That means you are not going to get that, loan.
And again, if I can get a tenant on here, also that goes from a liability to an asset, so I'm actually bringing in more, that changes that, I mean.
Understood, but I need to find a tenant before I go and buy another.
Yeah, well, I actually gotta get a management company that knows you can find a tenant, and that way, once I find a house I wanna buy, I'm gonna go sign a tenant, and lease for 45 days, and do that. That's what we do for a living every day.
Okay, but the bank willing to buy the house.
Yes, the bank is willing to buy that argument,
The bank will allow.
all day, every day. That's what Tina does. That's what the lender's here, she will do that for you. They do that for me. They will absolutely do that. Right, and, but also, what you bring later, it's not concerned I am. I'm not just getting a tenant for the mortgage. I'm getting a tenant to cover the mortgage, vacancy, future repairs, and management company management. Because I'm not, I mean, I want the tenant's rent to cover all of that.
That's the intention, but.
Well, if it doesn't work, I wouldn't do it. That's what I'm trying to say, is if look at the numbers, if I can do that, if we were helping you, we'd say, that's your plan, let's make sure we buy a place in 2 years, I can do that. Or if you weren't able to right now, then let's put a plan in place the next year or two, to either save enough, or put enough down, or pay off enough stuff to do that. We just got to start. But that's the plan, it's just getting to the first one. But yes, I can go to Tina and be like, I want to go buy a house over there. Well, Chris, you can't pull out a liability. Well, if I've got a tenant in place and I have a lease in hand, and they're gonna rent it out, at the same amount of time, oh, by the way, they're giving you an extra month's rent as a deposit. That ain't the whole. But I can. That's the goal.
Yeah, first and last.
That's how money works. Right? Now, you know, I do that, but that's the version I do. I mean, I actually put away 38% of the rent, 38% of the rent. I put an insane amount away. If it doesn't cover that, I don't do it. Because I'm not coming out of pocket when the tenant moves out early, right? And we got lots of ways to deal with that, by the way. But that's the question.
38% of that.
Yeah, I do. I put that much away. So I know if it needs a roof or an HVAC or whatever it is, I'm not using my money, I'm using the tenant's money to fix all those things. I mean, that's how I'm doing it. You know, that's always the way forward, is the path is in the math. But you don't have to. But I've done that. In fact, I've done 3 where I bought it, I put my own money in, renovated it, I rented it out, And then 6 months and 1 day later, I go to Tina and I go, hi, I have a house that's now worth $200,000 that I only put 120 in. Tina, can I get a loan for 70% of the value of the house? And she goes, absolutely. And I go, and the tenant's paying $2,000 a month. My mortgage, taxes, insurance, and everything are only $1,200. So I'm pocketing $800 a month. I've done that 3 times. And I've taken all my money back out. Oh, it's called a burr. 6 months and 1 day after I own a property, it's now worth what the market will bring in, not what I paid for. 6 months and 1 day. 6 months and 1 day. I don't know why it's 6 months, but it's 6 months. They're only going to give me money off of what I paid for the first 6 months. 6 months and 1 day, I can refinance, pull whatever I want out. Now I have all my money back. I've done this 3 times. All my money back. All. Meaning every dollar. Now I'm getting $300, $400, $500, $600 a month in extra rent after I'm paying all the extras. That's an infinite return. That's an infinite return. That's what I've done. Yes.
Do you do most of this, or do most people do this through their own personal accounts, or do they set up an LLC and run it?
Great question. So, I'm not a tax accountant. I am not an attorney. So I'm not giving you tax advice. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'll give you my opinion. If I have nothing to lose, meaning if somebody sues me and I have nothing to lose, then I don't need those things. What you want those things for is 2 reasons. Number one, you want to pay less taxes in an LLC, but also if somebody slips in your house and falls and they sue you, you have an umbrella policy that covers that. But back to the ripcord, worst case scenario, they can get something and not touch you. So when you do corporations, the 2 general goals are, I want to be able to write off a whole lot more than I can myself on my taxes, and I'll make sure I have protection so nobody can touch my personal assets and well-being. Does that make sense?
So
Right.
then what you're earning back, you're keeping that in the business until you have a need or a want or whatever to withdraw for yourself.
So check this out. Great question. So I'm going to hold a certain percentage. I got 4 buckets. So I'm going to hold a certain percentage back, right? Because I've been making money now, I've got returns. So when I go back here, I got the assets. Here they come. So what do I want to do with that money? Some of it I want to hold. Do I want to hold 3 months of mortgage payments, 4 months of mortgage payments, right? How much reserves for the property do I want to hold, right? And then do I want to spend it and fix the property up? Do I want to do anything? We're back here, right? So everybody's different on how much they want to hold for the property. My rule of thumb is, now, by the way, interestingly enough, your bank, all they care about you having is $400 per door, per bedroom, per house. $1,200. Right? I have more than that. I personally want to have I want to know I can cover an HVAC or a roof, something big. So I want $10,000 to $12,000 sitting in an account somewhere, even gain a little bit of interest, just knowing if I need to pay for a roof, I got it. It's not my money, right? So until I get that much saved up, I'm not spending anything. That's mine, but everybody's different, right?
But as you're investing it back into your business.
Absolutely. I take that money and I go buy the next property.
If you ever want any of it for you, for whatever reason, then you pay yourself from your business.
That's correct. Yep, you can either do what's called an owner distribution to yourself, right? Or you put yourself on salary. So I know plenty of people that they manage their own investment properties. Instead of paying the 10% to a management company, they do that. They pay themselves a salary. Yep, and by the way, payroll companies will do that for you, and it's worth its weight in gold because you don't pay a self-employment tax. You say 15%. But again, these are all great conversations. Isn't it fun having these? Because now you're learning all these different ways, right? Because all these things matter, right? And by the way, a good accountant, business owners, we'll all talk about these things. I don't know why we don't talk about these in the South. But this is what you got to talk about. Generally speaking, if you're self-employed, you're going to pay the most taxes possible. So the minute you start a company, you pay less taxes, right? You have to do a tax return for that company. Now that's more taxes. It can be more challenges. So then the game becomes, well, how many properties do you put in that LLC? Depends on the liability and how much the value is. That's where you have to bring in an accountant and an attorney to do those things and set up your plan for that. But here's the best part. Once you get 1 or 2, you'll have the money to do that. And then the attorney that's actually doing your closings on real estate, if you choose real estate, they're gonna go, you know what? We do asset protection and trust setups. Actually, I have all my stuff in trusts, living trusts.
Mhm.
You can sue me right now, you're not gonna get a thing. I own nothing. Seriously, nothing is in my name. All my bank accounts are all owned by my trusts. I just get salary from that. Heaven forbid I get in a car accident or whatever, you're not getting a thing from me. Can't touch me, really. But that's how that was set up from the attorney's meetings, right?
Irrevocable.
They're just, no, they're not sure. I just know they're living trust that set up. I'm not sure if they're irrevocable or not. I just know that my living trust, I maintain, and then if something happens to me, other people maintain and have it in succession line.
So is there a living trust? Sometimes people say you need, some minimum amount of net worth. Is there a-
You do. That's why I say you don't need. That's why I say you don't need it right away. That's correct. You don't need it right away until you have something that people can sue and go after. There's no need to do that. Exactly right.
What's the normal work of no?
Well, that's up to you. What do you think? What do you think? An attorney's going to go after if you get in a car accident or you slip and fall? How much money is it worth for them to sue you? Seriously, what do you think? Ambulance chasing attorney is going to actually go after? 10,000, 20,000, 50,000? I don't think they go after that. I mean, just what do you think they'd have to go after? You'd ask something for them to go after. So until you do, there's no need.
Well, that's where the umbrella comes.
Pardon? Well, yeah,
The umbrella
and
policy.
an umbrella policy is very expensive. I mean, I pay next to nothing for my $1 million one, I got like $1 million one. But again, I'm using all the capital assets to then protect it. That's another investment in protection.
So
But I'm only using assets, not my capital, to do all those things. To do all those things.
another number question. You said something about 38% of the rental income.
Yeah.
You're going to put it on a trust fund or escrow fund.
Well, 10% of that goes to the main company. And,
Right.
8% for vacancy, right? Vacancy, that's 30 days of vacancy rate. So I break it down. It's a whole
So
percentage.
if there's a delinquency in rental, somebody did not pay it for a couple of months.
Yeah,
That 38% include that also.
that's vacancy. That's correct, that's vacancy.
So if somebody does not pay rent
I
in
think
time, what do you do?
I have 10 days, welcome to North Carolina. I can evict them on the 11th day in my leases. And I add it out before the end of the month, which is 1 month of vacancy. Yeah. Yeah, that's how North Carolina works. By the way, that's why I don't invest in Oregon or California.
Yeah.
I'm serious. In Oregon and California, it can take you a year to get a 10 now.
No wonder California people.
A year. I mean, a year. I was like, oh, no, thank you. I got 10 days. On the 11th day, I'm like, hey, go to court. No, seriously. That's how my lease agreed, right? And I don't go, "When are you coming?" Right? You have 5 days. On the 15th, you're out. And I got 15 days to get it fixed, turn, and put somebody else in. Does that work? Yes.
I'm not sure the exact term, but what is the, over time, what is the percentage of rental rates here in this market? Like, are rentals?
Oh, rental rates in this market? I base all my stuff off of a 2% increase in rental rates.
Okay,
However, they're on average 4.5% to 5%.
so sorry, I'm not asking that question.
Okay.
In terms of what people are living in, a rental versus something that they're buying.
Okay.
And occupancy rate.
Okay. So 64.5% of people own homes. Okay.
In this market.
Yep. Well, in general, and 34.5% rent.
Is that, in this area, is that going up? Is that
Um,
number changing?
No, because we don't have enough houses that people want to live here. We don't have enough rentals or homes to buy in this market. Right now, everybody, we have 10 people a day moving to Guilford County. We are building 10 people a day. We are adding 1 new residence a week. Our water and sewer capacity, we don't have any. This thing called a Toyota plant and Sonic Boom and Purina, when they said they were tripling their factory sizes, where do you think that water and sewer capacity is coming from? Our city doesn't even have it to give them right now. So you're seeing a strain on building being done in Guilford County. Meanwhile, we're adding jobs like crazy. We just added 300 jobs on Top Golf. 300! And that one business. By the way, Ross Dress for Less just said they're moving here. You guys want to see something else? Go to nccarolinacore.com, nccarolinacore.com. We have 3 mega sites going in and nowhere to put people. But we do have good roads. No, we really do. We have good roads. We have roads. We got the roads. Seriously, we have good roads, man. They are ready road-wise. But when those factories said what they were doing with expansion, it ate up all of our water sewer capacity, which is putting a strain on building houses for those people. So in the next 3 to 5 years, do you think rent's going to go up and housing prices are going to go up in this area? Supply and demand, right? Supply and demand. It's just sheer numbers, right? Which also means Rockingham, Randolph County, right? Alamance County, Forsyth County, you're like, hi. I'm just talking about Guilford County, 10 people a day are moving here. Now, I know my dad, I know my information. Again, I know real estate. That's what we do. Also, you can't build anything anymore for less than $175 a square foot. So if you can buy a house for $175 a square foot, that's a pretty good deal in this market. You can't build a cracker box. I mean, like, you look at D.R. Horton, all these builders, they're struggling to build a house because of material costs. So if a house burns to the ground right now, brick ranch, you can't build it back for that. What you're buying it for. There's just opportunity all over the place. But you gotta be smart, then it's gotta work, right? You can't put a lot of money out. You gotta analyze properties. So another way to do that is, the way I started finding property was every Monday for 2 hours, it was investment day in me. So every Monday for 2 hours, I'd analyze 5 properties. So I got good at analyzing properties. And over the course of 9 months, I didn't buy a single one. Because I was more confused. But then after 9 months, I got better at it. And I got better at it. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, deals started showing up because I knew how to analyze them. Right? It took a long time to do that. And now I can do it just like in 10 or 15 minutes. Doesn't take me long at all. Found some on the MLS that I bought. Right there, for everybody to see. They weren't off market. They were in the MLS. Several of them. They made sense. And I believe we're going to have more and more of those happening in the next few months while we have this challenge with the election, because we got a little dip in the market right now. I think it's a great time. And I think interest rates are going to go down. But that's me. Anyway. All right. We're about up. So if you have any questions, I'll stick around. I'll answer whatever you got. I'll put this back up. Please look at that path of money. Start looking at the way money works and how you can capitalize on that. If we can help you in any way, shape, or form, let us know. Happy to. All right. And I hope this was valuable. And we'll be doing another investor seminar in a couple months on how to analyze properties again. And we'll do it again. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.